Hello everybody, this is Chaos with Chaos Esports Productions, bringing you game number 7 of tonight's Clan War, and this is the ace match. Demonizer has been doing a very good job getting himself to this wonderful ace match, taking out, let's see, that will be 3 or 4? No, 3, soon to potentially be 4, of oGaming's best. Let's go ahead and introduce our players here on Alterzim Stronghold. Spawning in the lower left-hand corner of this map, it is going to be oGaming Cirrus. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of this map, it is going to be Eternal Dreamers Demonizer. So, we have a TvT on our hands, and we all know what that means. That means that the likelihood of this ending in the next 20 minutes is probably slim to none. So, one of the downfalls of a TvT matchup is that every single game seems to take forever. Especially on such a giant map like this. So, we'll have to see if anybody's going to do anything funky. So far, not really. Pretty normal stuff. Barracks. And yeah, so we'll have to see. I'd love to not see mech. Mech is the worst, especially on such a big map. We will have to see. I hope everybody has been enjoying this clan war. Go ahead and feel free to hit that follow button down in the lower left-hand corner for all of the clan wars that I cast. I'll be more than happy to send you that email by hitting that button. It's all good. Anyways, so TvT. Obviously, Alterzim's kind of an interesting map. You've got this cool little in-base natural, which is quite nice. But the only caveat is the third base is a little bit more difficult to take. Obviously, you generally posture your army kind of in this position, and you've got this pretty big chasm coming into your third, so this map I would say tends to favor a longer macro style game, but we'll have to see whether or not we will see that here today. So definitely been having some really good song choices in between games, so I want to applaud all of the viewers for who have been participating. I love hearing what you guys listen to. Got some old stuff tonight, which was pretty awesome. Haven't Johnny Be Good, definitely one of my favorite songs ever. So kudos to you. Demonizer's going to be, actually looks like he's going to go ahead and check out the southern point. Ooh, why you do this? I don't know why he does this. So yeah, so Demonizer's going to go ahead and start getting his reactor. And it does look like Sirius is going to be going for a very quick factory. Which is definitely not going to be... Ooh, Demonizer already going in, trying to take out that SCV, building that command center. Going to be denying that for a significant amount of time. And obviously with only one Marine out, it does look like Demonizer is going to get a very good idea of what his opponent's doing. Sees the gas stun, couple of SCVs going to already get pulled. Now the question is will he see the factory? Hasn't quite seen the factory, which is a little bit of a bummer. That would have been a very nice little win for him by seeing that. Obviously, the only thing that he has seen is just a handful of Marines, which is pretty typical, and it looks like Demonizer is going to walk right into... or not. He's like, thank you, but no thank you. So yeah, so very fast 1-1-1 style, actually. So, do have one Hellion, not 2, which is surprising. I would have expected 2. There's the second. So yeah, so Demonizer's going to get in, have a really good idea of what his opponent's doing, sees the Hellion down, sees his starport, so he is going to know that his opponent is going for some type of drop play. Meanwhile, back at home, he is actually going to be going for a very similar style himself, going for favoring the Widow Mine a little bit more, which I find interesting because obviously with TvT, obviously you have the ability to scan, so I'd say Widow Mine's probably going to be a little bit less effective, but we'll have to see how it all works out. Now, Demonizer is going to go ahead and posture a handful of Marines back in his natural, obviously in case of an emergency like a random drop that could potentially come down fairly quickly, so he's already getting prepared for that. Meanwhile, he's going to be setting himself up for some drops himself, and we'll see whether or not these Hellions are able to do any damage here at the front. So yeah, so both players are being pretty good. Obviously, you got units coming out for both players pretty consistently. And yeah, so it does look like Sirius is going to go ahead and add that other Rex. Units are going to start to die here for Sirius at this drop. A little bit sloppy from Sirius, losing a handful more units than his opponent. But we do have Hellions coming here at the front. Obviously, the Marines are probably not going to do too terribly much, considering the units are very squishy, and Hellions shoot flames out of their mouth. So, we do have a tank coming out, which will probably be more than enough to deal with the Hellions. Obviously, a little bit of damage getting done. So drop is going to go ahead and come in straight to the mineral line. First Widow Mine is going to go ahead and go straight down. Not quite enough energy for a scan just yet. Second Widow Mine will go ahead and get planted down here at the natural. First scan should come up, I would think, here fairly sure. Ooh, a nice shot getting off by that Widow Mine. So yeah, we have a Widow Mine at both bases. First scan does go down to try and take out this one in the main. Second one will probably be going down fairly soon. Or did he see it? I don't think he saw it. He didn't quite see the second Widow Mine, so I think that this one actually might get a handful more kills. So I think overall that drop was very successful. Looking at the units lost tab, you can see that Sirius has lost a little bit more than his opponent. So overall, pretty good. Another Widow Mine shot going off on the back. And I'm not sure if he noticed it, which is kind of fascinating. Is sending a handful of units down to the bottom, and I would think that would get cleaned up. And there it goes. Okay, so all the Widow Mines are now cleaned up. Behind this, it does look like Demonizer is going to go ahead and plant down his third command center, as well as continue on getting his production up. Stim is on its way, and nice little Hellion drop, gonna be able to get a couple more Marines killed, but overall, not too shabby. So yeah, so now we get into the fun part that is TvT, in that it's all about who's going to attack. As of right now, I'd say that Sirius is a little bit behind. Overall, it's pretty even. But we'll have to see whether or not... Ooh, both players are like, okay, we're doing this. We're moving out. Going for it. Trying to get that nice forward position. That Hellion is going to die. And Sirius is like, well, I'm not sure how I feel about this. Tanks are going to get into a position where they are going to get shot down by these tanks. And it looks like Demonizer is going to start to... posture around a little bit. Needs to be very careful. Tanks are going to go ahead and get picked up, and it looks like Demonizer is going to be able to go ahead and move out a little bit further. So, I don't know. As far as spawning positions, I'd say that this is a little bit more in favor of Demonizer, just because he has a lot of area up here where he can easily set up a couple tanks to do some serious damage in case a rally point goes wrong, or anything like that. So we'll have to see whether or not he utilizes that. So we do have combat shield done. Is it done? Yeah, combat shield's on the way for both players, so not quite done yet. Yeah, and it looks like Demonizer is going to go ahead and start to think about taking. Okay, interesting. Random medevac posturing over in the southern portion of this map. And now we get into the boring part that is TvT, where both players decide to turtle up and build up their armies until they're maxed. Both players still not very comfortable about what their opponent's doing, since both are going for Marine Tank. It's going to be very the winner of this match is going to be very dictated on the positioning of those tanks, because those tanks are obviously the hard hitters in both compositions, and are going to basically determine how this all pans out. Now, obviously, Demonizer is significantly ahead in the supply count, which is obviously very, very favorable for him. But the question is will he ever capitalize on it? Obviously, if both players just sit back and max out, they're going to be, you know, basically fighting the same army, and it's just going to be a matter of positioning. So, nice little feature that Demonizer has utilized. Well, not really feature, but doing a really good job of keeping just a handful of Marines out on the edges to see if there's any drops coming his way or anything. You know, if he needs to worry about anything. Now, we do have a handful of Marines obviously coming in here. A lot of shots going down on that medevac, and actually only a handful of units getting down. So overall, I'd say this drop was very, very unsuccessful. I'm not even sure if that killed anything. So yeah, so it does look like Demonizer is keeping tabs on a potential hidden base. Things like that. Okay, so it looks like we might have an engagement here. We'll have to keep an eye out on whether or not that is what it's going to boil down to. Now, Demonizer really hasn't been focusing on getting any air units. Obviously, we do have our first Viking coming out for Sirius, so okay. Demonizer is going to go ahead and say, okay, I think I'm ready. Lots of scans going down. Nice shots going down on a couple of those Marines. Stim is going in. He looks like he's going to try and focus down one of those tanks, getting it. And yeah, so I think overall, I'd say that was pretty decent. Both players traded fairly evenly. Nothing too terribly lost. Now we do have a hidden command center coming out of Sirius, so he's not feeling too happy of his position. Obviously, we have hold command by Demonizer, so he's looking to push back now. So Marines coming out, 2x2, hurrah. And so far, upgrades are definitely a little bit more in favor of Demonizer just because his shield is a little bit ahead of his opponent's. But the question is he's not really capitalized on anything. I think in kind of this playstyle, you really need to be focusing on getting out some drops and getting things. You know, you got to tear your opponent apart. You can't just hope to siege in the front and get into a good enough position with your siege tanks alone. There's got to be something that has to draw your opponent back. So we'll have to see if Demonizer can do that. One of those Marines getting just obliterated. Small stem coming out. So yeah, so it looks like a small little hit squad's going to try and get into a position to potentially take out these tanks, and I think Demonizer just has too much stuff at this point. Really can't. Sirius needs to be very, very careful not to move out too terribly far. Obviously, there are lots of tanks over here. Stimming units in left and right. Tanks supported by tanks. One tank will go down at the cost of a handful of Marines. But I think overall, obviously, Demonizer does have very, very good production, and overall is going to be in a very, very good position. He just needs to make sure that he keeps his supply lead, because the longer he waits, the longer Sirius's supply is going to increase and, you know, make it a very even game. Obviously, we do have the fourth base of Sirius going down in the lower right-hand corner. Still has yet to be detected. Random stim. So yeah, so it's pretty much a quick draw at this point. It's just a matter of who is going to go ahead and engage first. Now, I'm not sure if this is a mistake, but it does look like as far as upgrades, is Shieldon finished for Sirius? No, Shields is not done, and it has not been started. So, actually, Sirius is going to get into a very, very nice. Ooh, but it's going to get picked off by these reinforcing units, and I don't think that. It's going to be very, very careful not to lose too many of those units. Obviously, every unit lost is, you know, that much more in favor of Demonizer. So, there is a gap in Demonizer's defense. Obviously, needs to be wary of what's going back at his base. Obviously, the turret's going to go ahead and take down, do a significant amount of damage to these medevacs. But Demonizer should be able to come back here and more or less defend this off. So, Marines still have yet to scout this lower right-hand corner, so Demonizer still doesn't know that there is an extra base for his opponent. Demonizer's going to be getting up more expansions of his own, and we are back to the standstill. So we do have a scan coming down here. A single Marine's going to get put into position to scout any potential new base coming out of his opponent. Ooh, and it looks like his opponent's actually going to choose to move out, and a lot of these SCVs are going to get taken out for free. It does look like with that move, Demonizer is going to try and move in and get a lot of damage done. Tanks are going off left and right, and we do have battlecruisers out on the field, so it does look like Sirius is getting serious about getting into the air business, which I think is actually very, very wise choice, because that's what it's going to boil down to, is a transition from one of the players. So obviously we do have the +2 armor upgrade now coming. Ooh, he's got to be very careful. Obviously needs to start sieging and unsieging these tanks in the proper timing, but with all of these units out of position, it looks like a lot of Demonizer's army is going to get taken out with these tank shots, and it's actually going to put Sirius all pretty much even as far as supply goes. We do have 23 units being produced at a time, as well as Thors, because they are here. So yeah, so it's basically going to be boiled down to who can take the better position and who is going to outstarve the other. Obviously, Demonizer's been on a significant number of bases, more than his opponent. Gotta be very, very careful. Tanks are going to need to be repositioned. Ooh, and with them unsieging, it looks like their Marines are going to come in and actually do a significant amount of damage, but the tanks are just too much. Marines are pushing forward, trying to pick off some of these battlecruisers, but it is just not enough. Demonizer needs to be very, very careful not to overstim these units, because they are definitely getting down in the low health. So definitely a positioning war here in game number 7. It looks like the Marines are currently trying to back out, but the majority of the Marine force is still back at home. These tanks might actually be forfeit here, since all of the Marines, there's only 6 Marines left. So yeah, these tanks are going to get taken out for free, and the reinforcement army is going to be able to take out a lot of the units, but these tanks really need to get unsieged and out of this. Demonizer's going in, trying to do as much damage as possible, but the battlecruisers are just too much, doing lots of damage left and right. Thors are now getting it focused down, and actually I think Demonizer might be in a lot of trouble here. Obviously he still has a very, very big bank, 23 Marines coming out at the time, but Demonizer is being pushed back. Sirius is going to go ahead and get himself into a position to start actually doing damage to the production of Demonizer. The tanks are starting to get sieged up. He's trying to focus down the tanks in time, but there just is not enough Marines, and these tanks are going to get taken down here, and this is looking very, very bad for Demonizer, as Sirius is just marching into his 3rd base. There's really not a whole lot Demonizer can do without having the support of an air unit. The production is just now starting to get taken out. This Thor is going to probably pop out and immediately get focused. Tanks are doing a lot of damage. Demonizer is really going to have to get into a very favorable position in order to do any damage to this army. And we will have to see whether or not he goes for the base trade. He is trying to stem in here and get into a decent enough position to take out these tanks. Tanks are going down little by little, and I believe that is the rest of the tanks. Now the question of the day is, does Sirius have any more tanks in production? We have a couple out on the field, but I think overall the battlecruisers are going to get taken out, and I think Demonizer is actually in a position to potentially take this game once again. Obviously the Thors are now coming out as well, and with the extra bases that he's just had so much more of a bank and has been able to sustain even through the attack. So Demonizer is definitely looking to be in a very, very good position to go ahead and push out at this point. So the question of the day is, will Sirius have enough tanks to defend his 3rd? Obviously, we have more production coming out from Sirius, but with this many units coming out at a time for Demonizer, it's going to be very difficult for him to come back. Obviously, the main base is fully mined out. The Natural's more or less fully mined out. All he has left is this 3rd and 4th base. This 5th is on its way, but overall, it's not in a very, very good position. A handful of units are stimming up here to meet these tanks. Tanks are getting taken down left and right, and will this be enough? Demonizer's going ahead and pushing forward. Tanks are getting very, very good shots off on these Marines, but the question is does Demonizer have enough army to push through these tanks and deal with these battle cruisers? Obviously, the SCVs are starting to get pulled, trying to repair these battle cruisers as quickly as possible. The Thors are starting to get some shots off on these battle cruisers, and it looks like Sirius is going to have just enough to hold off, and Demonizer is going to have to push back once again. Obviously, with the stream of units coming across the field, that will be the determining factor of whether or not one battle cruiser is going to go down. The Marines are still again trying to take out the second. Will he have enough? There is still only one tank left. Coming back, battlecruiser number 2 is going to go ahead and go down. Ravens are out, and they are looking to throw some grenades down on those Marines. The question of the day is, does Sirius have enough? Demonizer's going in, tank is going down, and it looks like all the units for Sirius are being canceled, and the Natural is going to be forfeited, putting Sirius in a very, very awkward position, obviously only having one half mining base and a 5th that is not quite done. We do have some very decent shots going off, but it looks like Demonizer is going to be coming in here doing a significant amount of damage. All the SCVs are dying, and it looks like Demonizer is going to be able to take here in game number 7 of this clan war. Very, very well done by Demonizers. Even with the deficit, it looks like he had just enough to push through and take this game very, very convincingly, and I believe this is going to be the end of tonight's clan war. Once Sirius goes ahead and taps out, there really just isn't enough. Obviously, even with all of these bases back here, there's just not enough bang for Sirius. He did a very, very valiant effort. Lots of banner mules going down. The question is does Sirius get the picture? Mules are going in, doing lots of damage. Well, actually not really doing any damage because they don't do any damage, but GG, well played, and Eternal Dreamers is going to take tonight's clan war against oGaming. I hope everybody enjoyed. Feel free to go ahead and hit that like button down or that follow button down in the lower left-hand corner. I hope you guys enjoyed the casting. Feel free to, I will stick around in chat for a little bit longer. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys later.